Hello, and a very warm welcome to our very first episode on this afterlife. As a doctor, I have seen people dying, it's a part of life, and I have seen very young people and who are very active and who are having a very proper diet and who are teetotalers and who never smoked or did any drugs in their life, passing away in their early 30s and early 40s. And I've also seen people like with many comorbid conditions like diabetes, hypertension, stroke, crossing their 90s, and people surviving multiple surgeries and crossing their hundreds. It's quite astonishing. And we all know there is a woman who literally fell down from a flying airplane and she survived that. And there are people who just skid down in their own home and give up their life. We never know in which form death may come to us and on what day and on what time. There are plenty of different kind of beliefs about death throughout the world. There is a set of people who believe after death they will reincarnate. They may reincarnate to a better person. To the worst, they may even reincarnate into an animal based on how they live their life in the present. And there are a set of people who believe there will be eternal and total annihilation of the soul. It means after death, there's nothing. The consciousness, the spirit of the soul will never survive. It's gone once for all. This was the belief of even the most famous scientist, Stephen Hawking. And there are a set of people now believing that there is an afterlife. There is a life after death. Do we have a proof for that? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Previously, the concept of afterlife was ridiculed. But today we have plenty of doctors, scientists, researchers who are doing extensive research on how human consciousness survives post-death. When a patient is getting rolled into the hospital, the first thing they will see whether the patient is conscious and alert. They have a scale for this. They call it as Glasgow Coma scale for that. Consciousness matters. There is this wonderful doctor called Dr. Sam Parina, and he is an emergency physician. He is the director of Human Consciousness Project. And he has proven that the brain activity continues to happen even after the heart stops functioning, even after the brain stops functioning, the consciousness remains. The human consciousness remains even after that. And a person's consciousness continues to survive beyond death. There was this other doctor, his name is Dr. Bruce Grayson. He's a psychiatrist who studied the same. And there is another British neuropsychiatrist, his name is Peter Fenwick. He has done the same experiment. And they all concluded and they came to a term called near-death experience. This is a set of very vivid experience that has happened, especially the people who just went up to the death. Or even there are people who are almost pronounced death and they came back to life. These are the collection of all these people's experience. There are lakhs and lakhs of people who have been through such experiences. I'm going to narrate the experience of 3 different people. Number 1, we are going to see about a lady called, her name is Pam Reynolds, Mrs. Pam Reynolds. She had something called basilar artery aneurysm. This basilar artery is one of the artery that supplies your brain. She had an aneurysm. And only way in those days to repair the aneurysm, she has to undergo a surgery called standstill surgery or hypothermic circulatory arrest. It's a kind of managed clinical death. Clinically, the person will be dead till the surgery is over. Her cerebral cortex will be no longer functional. Her brainstem will be no longer functional till the surgery gets over. In that time, she had an out-of-body experience. She can feel that she is out of her body. She can literally see the surgeons. She can literally see the anesthetist. She can literally see her neurosurgeon operating on her. Dr. Robert Spetzler, who was operating her. It's a real incident. It happened in Barrow Institute, Phoenix, Arizona. She could exactly remember and tell what exactly they were talking. And she could surprisingly name 2 tools, socket wrench case and interchangeable blade. Hardly any patient will know such terms. Hardly. She could name which tool was used on her at one point of time. As she started ascending above and above, she can see a bright white tunnel. And she felt so peaceful and so happy seeing the tunnel. And suddenly she heard a voice that, like, you have to go back. Your time has not yet come. By the time she opened her eyes, she was rolled in out of the theater. The operation was successful. And she woke up and she explained everything to her neurosurgeon. He was totally astonished. He was taken aback and he was surprised. How can someone tell all these things? How can this ever happen? From that moment, he also started researching about the near-death experience. There is another person. He's an atheist. His name is Sir Ayer. He was in 77. At 77, he was admitted in the hospital, and doctors clearly told him not to eat anything unless and otherwise we approve. So he was basically on a very controlled diet program. But this person, who is an atheist, he doesn't believe in God anyways. He likes fishes, especially he likes salmon. So his wife cooked salmon fish and she got that into the hospital. And he had that fish and he choked. He went into a cardiac arrest, and of course, from there he went into what they call as asystole. That time he started feeling that he is being taken out of his body. This time he didn't have a pleasant experience like what Mrs. Pam Reynolds had. He rather saw something dark and horrible and red lights all around, and he could visualize the evil things which he has done in his life. He could see the cry of people, the screams of people. He started repenting. He started screaming, "Oh no, I never know that there is a life after death. God or whichever higher being who's seeing me right now, give me a second chance. Please, I beg you." He started literally screaming. Indeed, he got a second chance. He came back to life and he changed his mind after that. He was never an atheist after that. He could clearly, he also can explain what exactly happened and what doctors were doing to review him from the cardiac arrest. Doctors are surprised even on this case as well. And finally, there is this woman. Her name is Dr. Gloria Polo. She is a dentist. She lives in Colombia, and she was struck by lightning. She was literally charred, like hardly she can be recognized. She went to that state, and she was taken into the emergency room. Everyone in her family, her husband was crying. They almost pronounced that she's dead, and everything was ready, almost body bags, everything was ready. They were making things ready for her postmortem. That time she had a near-death experience. She can feel that she is going out of her body. She can feel and she can see, she can hear her husband crying. She can see the doctors around there and what they were talking, she can hear. She saw a bright white tunnel. At the end of the tunnel, there was a person standing in a white robe. She could not recognize who is that. As she started going through the tunnel, she started feeling so much of peace. She just wanted to remain there. She never wanted to come back. She can no longer feel the pain of the lightning, and she can feel so happy there. But the person who was standing at the other end told her, "Your husband and your family needs you. Go back." The very second she opened her eyes, She came back to life, and after a couple of plastic surgeries, she was reviewed. And from that moment onwards, her life changed. She started going ahead and giving hope and giving comfort to the people who are grieving for death. Dear friends, brothers and sisters who are listening, I can certainly assure you that there is a life after death. That's what the Bible says in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 7. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Lord who gave it. Death is not the end of us. Death is never an end of us. We have a life after death. In the first episode, we have seen things related to science and medicine. In the next 2 episodes, we will see more things from the Holy Bible, and we will answer more questions as we ponder upon what is death, what happens after life, what are the destinations, and all these things we will see in the upcoming episodes. Please stay tuned to watch. If you like the program, do subscribe to our channel. Good day and God bless you.